little birds. Some very old sheds over there. And this is just the hundreds of years of old heritage that Bulgaria has here in the middle of the forest. And beautiful stones that show the passing of time. There is wood chopping here, and you can imagine how much effort it is to chop enough wood to heat these places. In an environment like this, I know for a fact that I would be chopping 3 hours of wood and I'd be totally destroyed. My back, everything, my knees. And then the priest or a nun would come to me and say, well, that's enough wood for just 2 weeks. And then I said, what? I thought it's enough for the whole winter. And she said, she would say, no, for the whole winter you would need to do 48 hours of chopping. And not even just one person doing the work. This would be several. And that's the amount of work that living on a farm, or at least a natural environment, this is the amount of effort it takes. And if you can't keep up, things turn into mud, things fall apart, your shed falls apart, everything. So it takes constant effort and resources to be able to live in an environment like this. See? And even to build such an environment in the first place, on the top of a hill, that is a gigantic effort. Right now is a very beautiful and peaceful moment here, with some snow flakes very slowly falling out of the sky, and just the last bits of winter here in the Bulgarian Balkan mountain range. Now the interesting thing about this monastery is that there is waterfalls directly beneath it. Just need to go down this steep path and you'll be right there. So I'm going to check this out, and it is a very special moment in time right now, because next week on Sunday, on you know, I'm going to have my birthday, which is I'm turning 29. 29 already, isn't that something? And that means that at the same time, basically right now, I'm in Bulgaria for 6.5 years. Already for 6.5 years, which is a long time, I must say. And yesterday I was feeling a bit down because I was at the bus station of Podujene. It feels like a bit of a lonely place. You have just all the big flats, the buildings. I was waiting for the bus alone, people are not really talking, and I felt kind of lonely and alone. Like I have my life together, but at the same time that it's only me who's doing it. It is only me who's holding it together, with nobody by my side, essentially, to come home to fall asleep with, to wake up with. And I've grown definitely used to that, being alone. In fact, a lot of it is due to my own preference, but at times it feels very pressing that you actually realize that it is me who's doing this. And it is me who is choosing to be here, and it's also me who is, I don't know, perhaps missing out on other things. Like, you never know. You think, what would it be like in another place, or if I'd be in a relationship, perhaps even was straight, which I'm not, had a family with kids. How would it be? Isn't it something that I deep down would also want? And isn't it something that I'm getting passed by, let's say? And then I get into a different state of mind, which is not necessarily fun. And that essentially happens when I haven't done sport for a day or two. Then I get a bit more negative, or even not on the same path and cheerfulness as I always am. But then once I get out and I start adventuring again, sharing my stories with you guys, that really helps and makes me feel good again and on the path. And I know for a fact that I'm not straight and will not have a family. And it does kind of feel like a loss. But on the other hand, you are who you are. And I see it the same as the metaphor of the waterfall. You can try to stop the water, but you're not going to. Because it's going to come out on the other end of the rocks as well. So you cannot force anything in nature. Beautiful clean water comes straight from the high mountains. Behind these is where the actual higher tops are, of 2 kilometers and more. And here you see how clean it is. Can you imagine? The whole of Europe used to be with clean little streams of water like this. Beautiful. And so yeah, behind the monastery you always find water that comes probably from a river, and this comes from not the stream itself but from below the ground. And yeah, you can walk very far up, probably climb forever, but I'm not going to do that right now because it's pretty cold. I might look at a map over there. And I don't know, just go back down, because I could walk back to Etropole from here. Just going to find a nice route that's not too steep. I don't want to climb some mountains. But despite the cold, the weather is pretty good. I cannot complain. If only because there is no mud here, which is very nice. Feels like a bit of an autumn walk. And normally in March we have far worse weather than this. Look at this little gentle stream. Surprised I don't see any fish, but yeah, it's a beautiful place to be. Oh, it's so nice that you can do all of these things in a weekend. Leave Friday night and still have more than 24 hours left in this place. Isn't that cool? Here's the Ecopoteca. Well, that's actually what leads to the village of Ribarica. I would be more interested in what's behind here in these mountains, but it is just still too winterish to go out and explore that, I suppose. Let's come back in another season, probably with some friends sometime, and check it out again. Now I want to see the inside of the monastery, and then we'll continue the trip